A misdirected goodbye finds the wrong man but the right heart, in the letter that wasn't meant for him, where a librarian's lost words spark an unexpected love with a grieving billionaire. Before we get into the story, comment below where, in the world you are watching from today. The rain pattered against the windows of the small seaside library as Ana Sofia Delgado shelved the last romance novel from her cart. Her brown eyes scanned the quiet room, making sure no patrons needed help before her lunch break. At 26, Ana Sofia had mastered the art of being invisible, of blending into the background. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her cardigan, a size too large, hung from her slender frame. "I'm taking my break now, Mrs. Patterson," she called softly to her boss, an older woman with silver hair who nodded without looking up from her computer. Ana Sofia grabbed her faded blue bag and hurried to the staff room. She wasn't hungry. Not today. Today marked exactly 2 years since Michael had left without a word. 2 years of questions without answers, of nights spent wondering what she'd done wrong. She reached into her bag and pulled out a cream-colored envelope. Inside was a letter she'd written a week after he disappeared. A letter full of hurt, confusion, and questions she'd never gotten to ask. For 2 years, she'd carried it everywhere, unable to send it, unable to let go. "Enough," she whispered to herself, running her fingers over the worn paper. "This ends today." Ana Sofia pulled out a fresh sheet of stationery and began to write a new letter. Her hand trembled slightly as the words flowed. "Dear Michael, it's been 2 years. 2 years of waiting for a call that never came, an explanation you never gave. I finally understand that some goodbyes don't come with words, so I'll say it for both of us. Goodbye. I'm not writing to make you feel guilty. I'm writing because I need to close this chapter. You never said goodbye, so I'll do it for both of us. I hope life has been kind to you. I hope you found whatever you were looking for when you left our small town, and me behind." Ana Sofia, she folded the letter carefully, slipped it into a new envelope, and wrote Michael's Seattle address from memory. She'd looked it up months ago, when she still thought there might be a chance to understand what had happened. The rain had slowed to a drizzle when Ana Sofia stepped outside during her lunch break. She walked quickly to the post office, her mind foggy with emotion. The letter felt heavy in her hands, heavier than paper should be, but it was carrying 2 years of unsaid words, of questions and pain. She dropped it into the mailbox before she could change her mind. As it slipped from her fingers, Ana Sofia felt a weight lift from her chest. It was done. What she didn't realize was that, in her emotional state, she had transposed 2 numbers in Michael's address. The letter wasn't going to Seattle at all. 3. Days later, in a sleek glass office building overlooking the Pacific Ocean in Portland, Damian Wexler sat behind his massive desk reviewing quarterly reports. At 30, he already carried the weight of his family's empire on his shoulders. His tailored suit couldn't hide the tension in his broad shoulders or the sadness that had taken up permanent residence behind his blue eyes. "Mr. Wexler, the mail has arrived," his assistant Margaret announced as she entered his office with a stack of envelopes. "Just put it with the rest," he said, without looking up. His voice was deep but quiet, as if he'd forgotten how to speak at full volume. "There's a personal letter in there," Margaret said, placing the mail carefully on his desk. "It's unusual these days to get handwritten addresses." Damian nodded, his eyes still on his computer screen. It had been 18 months since James's accident. 18 months since he'd buried his younger brother and retreated from the world, hiding behind work and walls of glass and steel. After Margaret left, Damian's eyes drifted to the mail pile. The cream envelope stood out among the white business envelopes. He reached for it, turning it over in his hands. It wasn't like the formal invitations he usually received. This was simpler, with slightly uneven handwriting. He opened it, assuming it was from a charity or perhaps a business contact, trying a more personal approach. What he found instead made his breath catch. A goodbye letter, not meant for him at all. Damian read it once, twice, then a third time. He should throw it away. It was clearly a mix-up, not meant for his eyes, but something in the words struck a chord deep within him. The raw honesty, the dignity in the farewell. Without really understanding why, he reached for his personal stationery, paper he hadn't touched in months. Dear Anna Sophia, your letter arrived on my desk this morning. I believe there's been a mistake. It wasn't addressed to me. My name is Damien Wexler, not Michael. I should apologize for reading something so personal, but I found myself unable to stop. Your words resonated with me in a way I didn't expect. This letter wasn't meant for me, but I'd like to hear the rest of the story if you're willing to tell it. Sincerely, Damien Wexler. He hesitated before folding the paper. This was impulsive, out of character. He hadn't reached out to anyone new since James died, but before he could reconsider, he slipped the letter into an envelope, wrote her return address, and added it to his outgoing mail. Anna Sophia was dusting the reference section when Mrs. Patterson approached with an envelope. "This came for you," the older woman said, curiosity evident in her tone, hand-delivered by a courier, no less. Anna Sophia took the envelope, puzzled. Her name was written in a strong, elegant script she didn't recognize. She slipped it into her pocket to read later, when she was alone. That evening, in her small apartment, overlooking the harbor, Anna Sophia curled up on her window seat and opened the mysterious letter. Her eyes widened as she read. Her letter to Michael had gone to a stranger, a man named Damien Wexler. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment. Her private pain had been read by someone she didn't know. She nearly crumpled the letter, wanting to forget the whole thing. But something stopped her. There was a gentleness in his words, a respect for her feelings that Michael had never shown. Against her better judgment, Anna Sophia reached for paper and pen. "Mr. Wexler, I'm mortified that my letter reached you by mistake. I can only imagine what you must think of me, pouring my heart out to an ex-boyfriend who probably doesn't even remember me. I'm not usually so careless or so emotional. The truth is that letter was 2 years in the making. Michael left without a word and I never understood why. Writing to him was my way of finally letting go. I'm curious though. You said my words resonated with you. May I ask why?" Anna Sophia Delgado, she mailed it the next morning, telling herself it was just to be polite, just to close this strange chapter properly. "Sir, you've received a response from that woman," Margaret said a few days later, raising an eyebrow as she handed Damien the envelope. Damien felt a surprising rush of anticipation. He waited until he was alone to open it, reading Anna Sophia's words slowly. She had written back. The thought made him smile for the first time in weeks. He pulled out a pen immediately. "Dear Anna Sophia, please don't be embarrassed. We all have letters we need to write, even if they're never meant to be sent. Yours just found a different destination. You asked why your words resonated with me. The truth is, I understand what it's like when someone disappears without a goodbye. My younger brother, James, died in a sailing accident 18 months ago. We had argued the day before. I never got to say sorry or goodbye. Since then, I've been hiding behind my work. Your courage in finally saying goodbye to your past made me realize I haven't faced mine. May I ask what you do in your small coastal town? I'm picturing a place very different from my sterile office in Portland." Damien, he sent the letter by courier again, not wanting to wait for regular mail. As he returned to his spreadsheets, Damien realized he felt lighter somehow, as if sharing that small piece of his grief had shifted something inside him. Anna Sophia was shocked by Damien's revelation about his brother. The letter felt heavier than the others, weighted with his loss. She read it several times during her lunch break, sitting on a bench overlooking the ocean. That night, she wrote back, "Dear Damien, I'm so sorry about your brother. An argument shouldn't be the last words between siblings. That pain must be unbearable. To answer your question, I'm a librarian at the Seaside Public Library. It's a small building, but it has huge windows that look out over the water. On clear days, you can see all the way to the horizon. It makes the world feel both enormous and intimate at the same time. I've always found peace in books. They're reliable companions. They never leave without explanation. When Michael disappeared from my life, I buried myself in stories where everything made sense, where people's actions had reasons, even if those reasons were sometimes cruel. What kind of work do you do? You mentioned a sterile office. That sounds rather lonely. Anna Sophia." 2 weeks later, Anna Sophia and Damien had exchanged 6 letters. Each one grew longer, more personal. She told him about her childhood in a house full of books, with parents who spoke little but loved deeply. He described growing up with wealth but little warmth, except from his adventurous younger brother. In his latest letter, Damien had written, "I run my family's foundation now. We fund educational programs and environmental initiatives, but it all happens through meetings and numbers on screens. Nothing feels real anymore. When James was alive, he would drag me out of the office to experience the projects we funded, to meet the people, see the places. He said money without meaning was just paper changing hands. I haven't left Portland since he died. Sometimes I feel like I'm the one who died, and this is some strange half-life I'm living." Anna Sophia's heart ached for this man she'd never met, but was beginning to know better than people she'd seen every day for years. She wrote back that same night, "Dear Damien, I think your brother was right about experiencing life firsthand. Books have taught me that watching life from a distance isn't the same as living it. There's a small cove near my apartment. When the tide is low, you can find perfectly intact sand dollars. I'm sending one with this letter. It's delicate but stronger than it looks. It survived the ocean after all. Maybe it's time for both of us to stop hiding. I've been using books as my shield. You've been using your office. What would happen if we stepped out from behind them? Think you're the first person I've let in since him. I don't want this to be another goodbye. Anna Sophia." She carefully packaged the sand dollar, wrapped her letter around it, and sent it off, her heart beating faster than usual. Damien held the sand dollar gently, running his fingers over its surface. It was perfect, unmarked by the journey from Anna Sophia's hands to his. Her letter lay open on his desk. "I don't want this to be another goodbye." Those words echoed in his mind. For weeks, he'd looked forward to these letters more than anything else in his life. Anna Sophia's words had awakened something in him, something he thought had died with James. Margaret entered his office, stopping short when she saw him holding the sand dollar. "Sir, the board is waiting for you in the conference room." "Cancel it," Damien said, standing up suddenly. "Cancel all my meetings for the next few days." Margaret stared at him. "All of them?" "But the quarterly review—" "It can wait," he said, already reaching for his coat. "I need to go to Seaside." "Seaside? But that's 3 hours away." "I know exactly how far it is," Damien replied, a strange energy running through him. For the first time in 18 months, he felt fully alive. "I've checked the route every time I've written to her." As Anna Sophia arranged books on the new arrival shelf, her mind wandered to Damien. It had been 3 days since she'd sent the sand dollar. Had it arrived safely? Was it too forward? Would he write back? The library door opened, letting in a gust of cool air. Anna Sophia didn't look up immediately, focused on alphabetizing the romance section. "Excuse me," a deep voice said. "I'm looking for a book." "So of course," she replied automatically, turning around. "What kind of—" The words died in her throat. The man standing before her was tall, with broad shoulders and intense blue eyes. He was dressed in a casual button-down shirt and jeans that looked new but expensive. In his hands he held a book. "I'm looking for the person who wrote this," he said softly, opening the book to reveal a pressed sand dollar and a folded letter inside. Anna Sophia's heart stopped, then raced ahead, pounding in her ears. "Damien?" He nodded, his eyes never leaving hers. "I don't want to be a mistake you mailed away," he said, his voice low and earnest. "I want to be the man who earned the right to hear your real hello." Anna Sophia stood frozen, unable to believe he was really there. People like him, successful, wealthy, important, didn't show up for people like her. "How did you find me?" she whispered. "Your letters," he replied. "You described the library with the big windows overlooking the ocean. There's only one in Seaside." Around them, a few patrons looked up curiously, but Anna Sophia barely noticed. "I never thought you'd come," she admitted. "I never thought I would either," Damien said. "But then I realized something. James would have been on the road the moment he got your first letter. He lived fully. I've been half living since he died." He took a step closer. "Your words woke me up, Anna Sophia. I couldn't not come." Mrs. Patterson appeared at Anna Sophia's side, eyeing Damien with interest. "Why don't you take your break now, dear? It seems you have a visitor." Anna Sophia nodded gratefully. "Just let me get my coat." Minutes later, they sat on the library steps, the letter between them. The afternoon sun broke through the clouds, warming the air around them. "Would you still have written if I hadn't meant to send it to you?" Anna Sophia asked, looking out toward the ocean rather than at him. Damien considered the question. "No," he answered honestly, "but fate read it before I did." Anna Sophia finally turned to look at him. Really look at him. His face was handsome, but carried the shadows of grief. Yet there was something new there too, a spark of hope that matched what she felt growing in her own heart. Slowly, she reached out and took his hand. It wasn't a gesture of ending something, but of beginning. And as the ocean breeze swept across the library steps, Anna Sophia and Damien sat in silence, holding hands, their story just starting to unfold. A week had passed since Damien's unexpected appearance at the seaside library. Anna Sophia still couldn't believe it had actually happened. They had spent that afternoon walking along the shore, talking as if they'd known each other for years, instead of just through a handful of letters. "You're different than I imagined," she had told him as they watched seagulls dive into the waves. "Different how?" Damien had asked, his hands in his pockets, the ocean breeze ruffling his dark hair. "Less formal, I guess. Your letters were so careful, so precise, but in person you seem more real." He had smiled then, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. "James always said I hid behind big words and fancy paper. He'd like that you saw through it." Now Anna Sophia shelved books with a small smile playing on her lips. They had exchanged phone numbers before Damien returned to Portland, promising to stay in touch. But no call had come. She tried to squash the disappointment rising in her chest. After all, what had she expected? That a billionaire would drop everything for a small-town librarian he barely knew? "Anna Sophia? There's a delivery for you, Mrs." Patterson called from the front desk, interrupting her thoughts. Anna Sophia walked to the main area, surprised to find a courier holding a large package wrapped in brown paper. "Sign here, please," the courier said, handing her a clipboard. Anna Sophia signed and took the package to the break room. It was heavier than she expected. Carefully, she unwrapped it to find a beautiful leather-bound book inside. There was no title on the cover, just her name embossed in gold, "For Anna Sophia." Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it. Inside on the first page was a handwritten note. "Dear Anna Sophia, I'm sorry I haven't called. The truth is, after meeting you, I realized how much I've been hiding from life. I've spent the past week making changes, starting with this. Inside this book are the places James loved most. Places I've never seen because I was always too busy working. I'd like to visit them all, but I don't want to go alone. Will you join me? Not all at once, but one by one. Whenever we can. The first page is for you to fill. Your favorite place. Show me your world, and I'll show you what's left of mine. Damien Anna." Sophia turned the page to find photographs of beautiful locations, a secluded beach, a forest with towering trees, a mountain lake so clear it mirrored the sky perfectly. Each photo had a small note explaining why James had loved it. Her phone rang, startling her. "Unknown number." "Hello?" she answered tentatively. "Did you get the book?" Damien's deep voice sent a shiver down her spine. "I just opened it," Anna Sophia replied, running her fingers over the leather cover. "It's beautiful." "Is that a yes?" he asked, and she could hear the smile in his voice. Anna Sophia hesitated. This was moving so fast. A month ago, she had been stuck in the past, carrying a letter to a man who hadn't cared enough to say goodbye. Now she was considering... what exactly? An adventure with a stranger. But Damien wasn't really a stranger anymore, was he? "Yes," she said finally, "but I have conditions." "Name them." "We go slowly. We get to know each other properly. And no more expensive gifts. I can't reciprocate, and it makes me uncomfortable." There was a pause on the other end. "I can agree to the first two," Damien said. "But I need to explain something about the third. The book wasn't expensive, Anna." "Sophia, it's just a photo album I put together myself. I'm not trying to impress you with money. I just wanted to share something meaningful." Anna Sophia felt her cheeks warm with embarrassment. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have assumed. Don't be. Sorry, it's a fair concern. I promise from now on I'll be more mindful of how things might appear. They talked for another hour, making plans to meet that weekend at Anna Sophia's favorite place, a hidden cove just north of town that tourists rarely discovered. When Saturday arrived, Anna Sophia woke early, a mixture of excitement and nervousness fluttering in her stomach. She dressed in jeans and a sweater, pulling her hair back in a simple ponytail. As she was about to leave, her phone rang. "Anna? It's Elena." Her best friend's voice sounded worried. "I just saw something you need to know about." "What is it?" Anna Sophia asked, checking her watch. Damien would be arriving soon. "There's an article in the Portland Business Journal about Damien Wexler. Did you know his company is in trouble? There are rumors of massive layoffs, and some people are saying it's because he's been distracted lately. They mentioned he was seen in Seaside last week." Anna Sophia's heart sank. "Are you sure?" "Look it up yourself. I'm just worried about you, honey. You've been hurt before. I don't want to see it happen again." After hanging up, Anna Sophia quickly searched for the article. There it was. Wexler Foundation faces scrutiny as CEO takes unexplained absences. The piece suggested Damien was neglecting his responsibilities, with quotes from board members expressing concern. One name appeared multiple times. Victor Chambers, the foundation's CFO, described as stepping in to manage the crisis. Anna Sophia bit her lip, unsure what to think. Was she pulling Damien away from important obligations? Was she just a distraction? A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. Taking a deep breath, she opened it to find Damien standing there, looking relaxed in jeans and a casual blue sweater that matched his eyes. "Ready for an adventure?" he asked, then paused, noticing her expression. "Is everything all right?" Anna Sophia hesitated, then decided to be direct. "I just read an article about your foundation having problems because you've been distracted." Damien's smile faded. He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she was beginning to recognize as a sign of stress. "May I come in? I think we should talk about this." Once inside her small apartment, Damien took in the bookshelves that lined every wall before turning back to Anna Sophia. "The article isn't entirely wrong, but it's not the full story either. Yes, I've been away from the office more than usual, and yes, Victor is concerned, but not for the reasons he's stating publicly." "What do you mean?" Anna Sophia asked, gesturing for him to sit on her worn but comfortable couch. Damien sat leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. "After James died, I was lost. I threw myself into work, barely leaving the office. Victor was my right hand man. He helped me keep everything running." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "But recently I've noticed discrepancies in our financial reports, small things that didn't add up. When I started asking questions, Victor suggested I was overworked, that I needed to trust him more. And then you got my letter," Anna Sophia said quietly. Damien nodded. "Your letter made me realize how isolated I'd become, how I'd stopped questioning things, stopped living. When I started paying attention again, I saw problems I'd been blind to before." "So, the foundation really is in trouble?" "Not the way the article suggests," Damien replied. "We're financially sound. The trouble is internal. I believe Victor may have been misappropriating funds, and now he's trying to undermine me before I can prove it." Anna Sophia studied his face, looking for signs of deception. All she saw was concern and, surprisingly, a hint of relief, as if sharing this burden had lightened it somewhat. "I understand if this changes things," Damien said softly. "The last thing I want is to drag you into my problems." Anna Sophia took a deep breath. "You know, one of the things I've always loved about libraries is that they're full of stories, not just the ones in books, but the ones people bring with them. Everyone who walks through those doors is in the middle of their own story." She met his gaze steadily. "I'd like to hear more of yours, if you're willing to share it." The tension in Damien's shoulders eased slightly. "Are you sure? It might get complicated." "Life usually is," she replied with a small smile. "Now I believe I promised to show you my favorite place." The hidden cove was even more beautiful than usual that day. The tide was out, revealing tide pools teeming with life. Starfish, anemones, tiny crabs scuttling between rocks. The ocean stretched endlessly before them, sunlight dancing on the waves. James would have loved this, Damien said as they sat on a large driftwood log. He was always finding these perfect little spots that most people overlooked. Tell me more about him, Anna Sophia encouraged, watching a seagull soar overhead. Damien smiled, his eyes on the horizon. He was everything I wasn't, spontaneous, adventurous, always living in the moment. When our parents died, I was 22, he was just 18. I took over the family business, the foundation. I wanted to protect him from all of that responsibility. A shadow crossed his face. Maybe if I'd let him share the burden. You can't blame yourself for his accident, Anna Sophia said gently. The day before he died, we argued, he wanted to use a significant portion of the foundation's funds for a marine conservation project. I thought it was too risky, not strategic. Enough, I said no. Damien picked up a small stone and turned it over in his hands. He accused me of becoming just like our father, all business, no heart. Then he stormed out, took his sailboat out despite the weather warnings. His voice cracked slightly. They found the boat the next day, not him. Anna Sophia reached for his hand, holding it between both of hers. I'm so sorry, Damien. They sat in silence for a while, the sound of waves filling the space between them. What? About you? Damien finally asked. You've told me about Michael leaving, but not much else about your past. Anna Sophia looked down at their joined hands. There's not much to tell. I grew up here. My parents owned the bookstore on Main Street until they retired and moved to Arizona 2 years ago. I was always the quiet girl with her nose in a book. She smiled faintly. Michael was my first real relationship. He was a summer tourist who decided to stay. For a while I thought we had something special, but he left without a word. Damien finished for her. She nodded. Just disappeared one day. I later heard he went back to Seattle, got a job at some tech company. Never called, never explained. For a long time I thought it was something I'd done wrong. And now, Damien asked, his blue eyes searching hers, now I think some people just aren't meant to stay, she said. And maybe that's okay. As the weeks passed, Anna Sophia and Damien fell into a new routine. He would drive down to Seaside every weekend, and they would explore the places in James's book or discover new ones together. During the week, they talked on the phone every night, sharing the details of their days. Anna Sophia learned that beneath Damien's reserved exterior was a man with a dry sense of humor and a deep appreciation for simple pleasures, the perfect cup of coffee, a well-told story, the changing colors of the sunset. In turn, she slowly opened up to him, sharing her dreams of someday writing a book of her own, her love of rainy days spent reading by the window, her quiet strength that had carried her through the pain of being left behind. On a crisp autumn day, as they walked along the beach collecting shells, Damien brought up the situation at the foundation. I've been gathering evidence, he said, picking up a perfect sand dollar and handing it to Anna Sophia. Victor has been siphoning money from our educational grants for years, small amounts from multiple projects, hoping no one would notice. What are you going to do? Anna Sophia asked, tucking the sand dollar into her pocket. Confront him at the next board meeting. I have all the documentation ready. Damien stopped walking, turning to face her. But that means things might get ugly. The press will be all over it and your name might come up. They'll want to know who you are, why I've been spending time here. Anna Sophia felt a flicker of fear. She valued her privacy, her quiet life. I understand, she said, trying to sound braver than she felt. Damien took her hands in his. I need you to know something. Whatever happens with Victor, with the foundation, it doesn't change what's growing between us. You're not a distraction, Anna Sophia. You're the clearest thing in my life right now. Before she could respond, his phone rang. Damien checked the screen and frowned. It's Margaret, my assistant. I should take this. Anna Sophia nodded, walking a few steps away to give him privacy. She watched the waves rolling in, thinking about how much had changed since that rainy day when she'd mailed the letter to the wrong address. Damien's voice rose, pulling her from her thoughts. What do you mean, locked out? He can't do that. His face had gone pale, his free hand clenched into a fist. I'll be there as soon as I can. He hung up, his expression grim. Victor called an emergency board meeting yesterday. Convinced them I'm mentally unstable, still grieving James and making irrational decisions. They've temporarily removed me as CEO and changed the security codes to the building. He ran a hand through his hair. I need to get back to Portland right away. Of course, Anna Sophia said, already walking back toward the parking lot. Do you want me to come with you? The question surprised them both. Anna Sophia had never been to Portland, had never seen Damien's world. Damien hesitated only briefly. Yes, he said. But are you sure? This could get messy. Anna Sophia thought about her quiet life, her routines, her safety. Then she thought about the letter she'd written, about taking control of her own story instead of letting others write her ending. I'm sure, she said. Let me call Mrs. Patterson and pack a bag. Portland was nothing like Seaside. The buildings towered overhead, glass and steel reflecting the cloudy sky. People moved quickly, purposefully, no one stopping to watch the waves or search for sand dollars. The Wexler Foundation headquarters occupied the top floors of a sleek skyscraper downtown. As Damien's car pulled up to the entrance, Anna Sophia felt distinctly out of place in her simple sweater and jeans. You don't have to come up, Damien said, sensing her discomfort. I can take you to my place first, let you settle in. Anna Sophia shook her head. I'm here for you, she said firmly. All the way. In the lobby, a security guard approached them immediately. I'm sorry, Mr. Wexler, but I have orders not to let you up without an escort. Damien's jaw tightened. This is my building, Frank. You know me. I know, sir, but Mr. Chambers was very clear. It's all right, a crisp voice interrupted. A woman in her 50s, impeccably dressed in a grey suit, stepped out of the elevator. I'll escort Mr. Wexler and his guest. Margaret, Damien said with evident relief. Thank you. In the elevator, Margaret gave Anna Sophia a curious once-over. So you're the mysterious woman from Seaside. I was beginning to think you were a figment of Damien's imagination. This is Anna Sophia Delgado, Damien said. Anna, this is Margaret Chen, the best executive assistant in the business and the only person who's kept me sane these past 18 months. Margaret's expression softened slightly. Pleased to meet you, Miss Delgado, though I wish it were under better circumstances. As they reached the top floor, Margaret's demeanor changed. Victor is in your office with 2 board members. The others are attending virtually. He's been going through your files, your emails, anything he can use against you. Let him try, Damien said, his voice cold in a way Anna Sophia had never heard before. This was a different Damien, the businessman, the heir to the Wexler fortune, not the gentleman who collected shells with her on the beach. What's the plan? Margaret asked as the elevator doors opened. The truth, Damien replied simply. I have copies of everything on this. He patted his laptop bag. And a loyal friend at the SEC who's very interested in what Victor's been doing. As they walked down the hallway toward the main office, curious employees peeked out of doorways and conference rooms. Anna Sophia felt their stares, heard their whispers. She straightened her spine, lifted her chin. She might not belong in this world of glass and steel, but she belonged by Damien's side. The conference room doors were closed. Damien paused, turning to Anna Sophia. You can wait out here with Margaret if you prefer. Anna Sophia thought of all the times she had hidden, behind books, behind silence, behind fear of being hurt again. Not today. I'm coming with you, she said, taking his hand. Damien looked down at their joined hands, then back at her face. Something shifted in his expression, surprise, then a deep appreciation. He squeezed her hand once before releasing it to open the door. The conference room fell silent as they entered. 3 men sat at the large table, an older gentleman with silver hair, a younger man in a tailored suit who must be Victor, and a third man whose face Anna Sophia couldn't see clearly. Damien, Victor said, his tone falsely concerned, we weren't expecting you. The board felt it would be better if you took some time. Save it, Victor, Damien interrupted, setting his laptop on the table. I know what you've been doing. The question is whether you'll come clean now or wait for the SEC investigation to reveal it. Victor's face paled slightly, but he maintained his composure. I don't know what you're talking about. We're all concerned. About your well-being, especially since you've been distracted. His eyes flickered to Anna Sophia. The third man turned, and Anna Sophia felt the floor drop from beneath her. Sitting there, in an expensive suit and a look of complete shock, was Michael. "Anna," he said, standing up, "what are you doing here?" Anna Sophia couldn't speak, couldn't move. Michael, here, in Portland, in Damien's conference room. Damien looked between them, confusion evident on his face. "You know each other?" "We used to date," Michael said, recovering quickly. "Back in Seaside. Small world, huh?" The room spun slightly. Anna Sophia gripped the back of a chair to steady herself. Michael, the man who had left without a word, who had broken her heart, who had been the recipient of that fateful letter, if only she hadn't mixed up the address. "Anna Sophia." Damien's voice seemed to come from far away. "Are you all right?" She forced herself to nod, to breathe. "I'm fine," she managed, though she was anything but. Victor was watching this exchange with growing interest. "Well, this is a fascinating development," he said, his voice silky. "Michael, you never mentioned you knew Damien's friend." "I didn't know she was Damien's anything," Michael replied, his eyes still on Anna Sophia. "Last I heard, she was still in Seaside, working at the library." The contempt in his voice when he said library sparked something in Anna Sophia. Anger, pride, strength. She straightened, meeting his gaze directly. "Yes, I still work at the library," she said clearly, "and yes, Damien and I know each other, but that has nothing to do with why we're here." Damien moved to stand beside her, his presence solid and reassuring. "Exactly," he said, turning his attention back to Victor. "We're here because you've been embezzling funds, and I have the evidence to prove it." The silver-haired man spoke, for the first time. "That's a serious accusation, Damien. What evidence?" Damien opened his laptop. "I think you should see for yourself, Mr. Harrington." As Damien began presenting his findings, Anna Sophia became aware of Michael moving closer. To her. "We should talk," he whispered. "Privately." Anna Sophia shook her head. "There's nothing to say." "Come on, Anna, don't be like that. I've missed you." She almost laughed at the absurdity of it. "You missed me? You left without a word, Michael. 2 years of silence." "I had my reasons," he insisted. "Things I couldn't explain then. But now, maybe we could start fresh." Anna Sophia looked at him, really looked at him. The same charming smile, the same confident posture. But now she saw what she hadn't before, the calculation behind his eyes, the way he was already positioning himself away from Victor, distancing himself from whatever was about to unfold. "No," she said simply. "That chapter is closed." Michael's expression hardened. "Because of him." He nodded toward Damien, who was still presenting evidence to the increasingly disturbed-looking Mr. Harrington. "I think he's actually serious about you. You're just a novelty, Anna. A small-town distraction. When this is over, he'll go back to his real life. And you'll be forgotten." The words stung, hitting too close to her deepest fears. But Anna Sophia thought of the letters they'd exchanged, the quiet moments they'd shared, the way Damien had looked at her when she'd offered to come with him today. "You're wrong," she said. "But even if you weren't, I'd rather be temporary in someone's life, who respects me, than permanent in the life of someone who doesn't." She walked away from him then, moving to stand near the window overlooking the city. Outside, rain had begun to fall, washing the world in shades of grey. Anna Sophia watched the droplets trace patterns on the glass, feeling strangely calm despite the storm brewing inside the conference room. Behind her, voices rose as Victor's denials grew more desperate, as board members joining virtually demanded explanations, as Damien methodically laid out the evidence of years of financial manipulation. Through it all, Anna Sophia remained silent, a witness to the unraveling of one story and the continuation of another, her own. The rain had stopped by the time Anna Sophia and Damien left the Wexler Foundation building. The late afternoon sun broke through the clouds, casting long shadows across the busy streets. Neither of them had spoken much since leaving the conference room, both lost in their own thoughts. Victor had been escorted from the building by security, his face ashen as Mr. Harrington informed him that the board would be cooperating fully with the SEC investigation. Michael had tried to approach Anna Sophia again, but Damien had stepped between them, his normally gentle demeanor replaced by something fiercer, more protective. Now, sitting in Damien's car outside his downtown apartment building, Anna Sophia finally broke the silence. "So that's your world," she said quietly, looking up at the gleaming high-rise with its doorman and valet parking. Damien followed her gaze. "Part of it," he admitted. "Not the part that matters most anymore." He turned to face her, his blue eyes searching hers. "Are you okay? Seeing Michael like that, it must have been a shock." Anna Sophia took a deep breath. "It was, but not in the way I expected." She looked down at her hands, remembering how they had trembled when she'd first seen Michael. "For 2 years I wondered what I'd say if I ever saw him again. I imagined all these conversations, all these explanations." She smiled faintly. "But when it actually happened, I realized I didn't need any of it. I've moved on." Relief washed over Damien's face. "I was worried that seeing him might change things." "It did change things," Anna Sophia said, reaching for his hand. "It showed me how far I've come, how different I feel now." She hesitated, then added softly, "How different I feel with you." Damien brought her hand to his lips, kissing it gently. "Let me show you my home. The real one, not just the place where I've been sleeping since James died." Damien's apartment occupied the entire top floor of the building. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered spectacular views of the city and the distant mountains. But what struck Anna Sophia most was how impersonal it felt, like a luxury hotel suite rather than a home. "You don't have any books," she observed, running her fingers along an empty shelf. Damien looked around as if seeing the space for the first time. "I guess I don't. I used to read all the time before. Everything. James was always teasing me about having my nose in a book while he was out living life." He walked to a closed door and opened it. Except in here, Anna Sophia followed him into what was clearly a home office. Unlike the rest of the apartment, this room felt lived in. Bookshelves lined the walls, filled with business texts, biographies, and, to her surprise, a collection of classic literature. "This is where I've been spending most of my time," Damien explained, "working late, sleeping on that couch more often than not." Anna Sophia moved to the bookshelves, examining the titles. Many of the books showed signs of frequent reading, cracked spines, dog-eared pages. "I like seeing what people read," she said. "It tells you so much about them." "And what do my books tell you?" Damien asked, watching her with a soft smile. "That you're more sentimental than you let on," she replied, pulling out a well-worn copy of The Great Gatsby. "And that you're a romantic at heart." Damien laughed. "Don't tell anyone. It would ruin my reputation as a cold-hearted businessman." "Anna." Sophia replaced the book and turned to face him. "Your secret is safe with me." They ordered dinner in that night, eating on the balcony despite the slight chill in the air. Anna Sophia told Damien about her childhood in Seaside, how she'd grown up helping in her parents' bookstore, how she'd always found it easier to connect with characters in books than with real people. "Except for Michael," she said, watching the city lights come on as darkness fell. "He came to the bookstore looking for a guide to coastal hiking trails. We started talking about favorite places, and it was so easy. He wasn't from Seaside, but he seemed to love it as much as I did." She shook her head. "Or so I thought." "How did he end up working with Victor?" Damien asked, refilling her glass of wine. "I have no idea. Last I heard, he had taken a job at a tech company in Seattle." She frowned. "I wonder how long they've known each other." "Long enough for Victor to have hired him 6 months ago as a financial consultant," Damien said. "According to the HR files Margaret pulled for me." Anna Sophia did the math in her head. "That's around the time I wrote the letter," she said slowly. "The one that went to you by mistake." A comfortable silence fell between them as they both contemplated the strange chain of events that had brought them together. Finally, Damien spoke again. "There's something I need to tell you," he said, his voice serious. "Something I should have mentioned earlier." Anna Sophia tensed, preparing herself for whatever was coming. "When I first got your letter," Damien continued, "I tried to find out who you were. I had my assistant look you up." "You investigated me?" Anna Sophia asked, unsure how to feel about this revelation. Damien nodded, looking slightly ashamed. Not extensively, just your basic information, where you worked, whether you were who you claimed to be. I was curious about the woman whose letter had affected me so deeply. He met her eyes directly. I stopped after that first search. I wanted to know you through your words, not through some impersonal report. Anna Sophia considered this. Under other circumstances, she might have been upset, but given how they'd met, through a misdirected letter containing her most personal feelings, it seemed almost fair. I understand, she said finally. I probably would have done the same if our positions were reversed. Damien visibly relaxed. There's one more thing. When I looked you up, I found a connection I wasn't expecting. He took a deep breath. Michael worked briefly for one of my family's companies 3 years ago before I took over. That's how he met Victor. Anna Sophia felt a chill that had nothing to do with the evening air. So when he came to Seaside, I don't know, Damien said quickly. It might be a coincidence. Seaside is a popular coastal town, but Anna Sophia was already putting the pieces together. He arrived right after your parents died, when you were taking over the business. He acted so interested in my simple life, so eager to escape the corporate world. She stood up, pacing the length of the balcony. I told him everything about myself, about my family. He knew how trusting I was, how I'd never had my heart broken. Damien rose to stand beside her. Anna Sophia, we don't know for sure. It wasn't a coincidence, she interrupted, certainty hardening in her chest. Think about it. Victor's been stealing from your foundation for years. You said yourself that after James died, you withdrew, stopped paying close attention. But what about before, when you first took over? You must have been vigilant then, checking everything. Damien's expression shifted as he followed her reasoning. Victor would have needed a distraction, he said slowly. Something to keep me from looking too closely at the books. Or someone, Anna Sophia said, her voice barely above a whisper. Michael, Damien concluded, anger flashing in his eyes. Using you to get information about me, to find a weakness. Anna Sophia leaned against the balcony railing, feeling suddenly exhausted. All this time she'd thought Michael had left because of something lacking in her, but it had never been about her at all. But it didn't work, she said, realization dawning. You never came to Seaside back then. Michael's reports about me would have been useless, because I was too busy working, Damien said, too focused on proving myself as CEO. He shook his head, a bitter smile twisting his lips. All that time trying to prevent another scandal like the ones my father faced, and I missed the one happening right under my nose. Anna Sophia placed her hand over his on the railing. We both missed what was right in front of us. Damien turned his hand to clasp hers. Until your letter found its way to me. Anna Sophia stayed in Portland for 3 days, during which time the full extent of Victor's scheme began to emerge. He had been siphoning funds from various foundation projects for years, using a network of fake consultants and inflated invoices. Michael had been brought in to help cover Victor's tracks, as Damien's grief over James made him more distant, less attentive to details. On her last morning in Portland, Anna Sophia stood in Damien's kitchen, sipping coffee and watching the sunrise. Over the city, she had called Mrs. Patterson yesterday to extend her absence, but she couldn't stay away from her job forever. You're thinking too loudly, Damien said, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. Anna Sophia leaned back against him, savoring the warm solidity of his chest. Just thinking about going home. Already? Damien asked, disappointment evident in his voice. I have to work tomorrow, she reminded him. Not all of us can take time off whenever we want. As soon as the words left her mouth, Anna Sophia regretted them. They highlighted the difference in their situations, the gulf between their worlds. Damien turned her gently to face him. I know, and I know this has all happened very quickly between us. His eyes were serious, searching. Too quickly? Anna Sophia considered the question. A month ago, she had been stuck in the past, carrying around a letter to a man who had used and discarded her. Now she was standing in a penthouse apartment with someone entirely different, someone who had seen her heart in a misdirected letter and had reached out in response. "Not too quickly," she said finally. "Just differently than I expected." She smiled. "I'm a librarian. I like things to follow a certain order to make logical sense." "And we don't?" Damien asked, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "We make a different kind of sense," Anna Sophia replied. "The kind you find in books where fate steps in and changes everything." They drove to Seaside that afternoon, mostly in comfortable silence. Anna Sophia watched the landscape change from city to countryside to coast, thinking about the journey that had brought her here. When they finally pulled up outside her apartment building, she felt a strange reluctance to get out of the car. "Will you come in?" she asked, surprising herself. Damien nodded, his eyes never leaving her face. "For a little while. I need to get back to Portland tonight, though. The board has called an emergency meeting for tomorrow morning." Inside her small apartment, Anna Sophia suddenly saw it through Damien's eyes. The mismatched furniture, the books stacked everywhere, the simple decor. It wasn't a penthouse with panoramic views, but it was home. "I love your place," Damien said, as if reading her thoughts. "It feels like you." Anna Sophia relaxed slightly. "Would you like some tea?" "Actually," Damien said, reaching into his pocket, "I have something for you." He pulled out a small flat package wrapped in simple brown paper. "It's not expensive," he added quickly, remembering her discomfort with costly gifts. "Just meaningful, I hope." Anna Sophia unwrapped it carefully. Inside was an antique brass key on a delicate chain. "It's the key to my family's summer house," Damien explained. "We haven't used it in years, not since before my parents died. It's on the coast, about halfway between Portland and Seaside." He took a deep breath. "I'd like to fix it up. Make it a place where I can feel close to James. Again, where we could meet, halfway between our two worlds." Anna Sophia held the key in her palm, feeling its weight, its significance. "Damien, I'm not asking you to move or to change your life," he said quickly. "I know how much your independence means to you. I'm just suggesting a place that could be ours when we want it to be." Anna Sophia looked up at him. This man who had come into her life through a twist of fate, who had seen value in her words when she'd thought them wasted. "I'd like that," she said softly. Damien's smile lit up his entire face. He leaned down and kissed her, a gentle kiss that felt like a promise. When he left that evening, Anna Sophia stood at her window watching his car disappear down the street. The key hung around her neck, a tangible reminder of what was growing between them. She turned back to her apartment, noticing how the evening light cast a golden glow over her bookshelves. Moving to them, she ran her fingers along the spines, stopping at a collection of love letters from history's great romances. She pulled it out, opening to a random page. "The right words sent to the wrong address," she murmured to herself. "Sometimes fate needs a little help." The next few weeks settled into a new pattern. Damien stayed in Portland during the week, dealing with the fallout from Victor's actions and the restructuring of the Foundation's leadership. Every Friday he would drive to Seaside, staying until Sunday evening. They explored the coast together, finding hidden spots that even Anna Sophia, a lifelong resident, had never discovered. On weeknights, they talked on the phone for hours, sharing the details of their days and delving deeper into their pasts, their dreams, their fears. Anna Sophia told Damien about her secret ambition to write children's books. Damien confessed his growing disillusionment with the corporate world and his desire to do something more hands-on with the Foundation's resources. James was right, he told her one night. Money without meaning is just paper changing hands. 3 weeks after Anna Sophia's visit to Portland, Damien suggested they visit the summer house that weekend. "I haven't been there in years," he admitted. "It might be in terrible shape." "All the more reason to see it," Anna Sophia replied. "I'm not afraid of a little dust." That Saturday morning, they drove south from Seaside along the coastal highway. The summer house was located on a secluded stretch of beach, accessible only by a winding private road that cut through a stand of old-growth pines. "My grandfather built it," Damien explained as they drove. "He wanted a place away from everything, where the family could just be together without the pressures of business or society." As the house came into view, Anna Sophia gasped. She had been expecting something grand and imposing, like Damien's Portland apartment. Instead, she saw a charming, weathered, cedar-shingled cottage, its wide front porch facing the ocean. "It's beautiful," she said, taking in the wild roses that had grown up around the porch railings, the large windows that would fill the house with light and ocean views. "It needs work," Damien said, eyeing the peeling paint and overgrown garden. "But the structure is sound. My grandfather believed in building things to last." He parked the car and came around to open Anna Sophia's door. Together they walked up the stone path to the porch. Anna Sophia removed the key from around her neck and handed it to Damien. "You should do the honors," she said. "It's your family, home." Damien took the key but didn't move toward the door. "That's the thing," he said, his voice low and serious. "It never felt like home, not with my parents. They were always too busy for family vacations, too concerned with appearances." He looked out toward the ocean. "James and I came here with our grandparents when we were very young, but after they died, the house was just forgotten." Anna Sophia took his hand. "Maybe it's time to make new memories here." Damien squeezed her hand, then moved to unlock the door. It swung open with a creak, revealing a large open living area. Dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight streaming through the windows. Sheet-covered furniture stood like silent ghosts throughout the room. "It's been closed up for so long," Damien said apologetically, but Anna Sophia was already moving through the space, pulling sheets off furniture to reveal sturdy, handcrafted pieces that spoke of quality and care. A stone fireplace dominated one wall, while the opposite side was almost entirely glass, offering breathtaking views of the beach and ocean beyond. "This place has good bones," she said, running her hand along a solid oak dining table. "It just needs some love." They spent the day airing out the house, cleaning what they could with the limited supplies they had brought. Damien found old photographs in a drawer, pictures of himself and James as children, building sandcastles on the beach with an elderly couple Anna Sophia assumed were their grandparents. "You look happy," she observed, studying young Damien's carefree smile. "I was," he said simply. "We both were when we were here." By late afternoon, they had made progress on the main floor, uncovering furniture, sweeping floors, and washing windows to let in more light. The kitchen was outdated but charming, with an old gas stove and a farmhouse sink. "What do you think?" Damien asked as they stood on the back deck, watching the sun begin its descent toward the horizon. "Is it worth saving?" Anna Sophia turned to face him, struck by the vulnerability in his question. This wasn't just about a house. It was about reclaiming a part of himself that he had lost, about creating something new from the fragments of his past. "Absolutely," she said without hesitation. "It's perfect." Damien's smile was like the sun breaking through clouds. He pulled her into his arms, holding her close as the wind off the ocean tousled their hair. "I was hoping you'd say that," he whispered against her temple. Over the next month, the summer house became their project. Every weekend they worked together, cleaning, painting, repairing. Anna Sophia scoured thrift stores in Seaside for vintage dishes and soft throw blankets. Damien hired local craftsmen to fix the roof and update the plumbing. The work was a welcome distraction from the media storm surrounding the Wexler Foundation. Victor had been formally charged with embezzlement, and the story had made headlines across the country. Michael had managed to avoid criminal charges by cooperating with investigators, but his reputation was in tatters. One rainy Saturday, as Anna Sophia arranged books on shelves Damien had built in what was becoming a cozy reading nook, her phone rang. It was Elena. "Anna, have you seen the Portland Business Journal today?" her friend asked without preamble. "No, why?" "There's an article about Damien and you. Someone leaked photos of you two working on the summer house. They're calling you his mystery woman." Anna Sophia's heart sank. "How bad is it?" "Not terrible," Elena admitted. "Actually, it's kind of flattering. They're painting it as a romance story, the reclusive billionaire finding love with a small-town librarian after tragedy." There was a pause. "Is it true? What they're saying about Michael?" Anna Sophia sighed. "Yes. He was working with Victor Chambers all along." "That bastard," Elena said fiercely. "I knew there was something off about him." Another pause. Are you okay? With all of this coming out? Anna Sophia looked around the room, at the shelves Damien had built specifically to her specifications, at the window seat he'd cushioned, because he knew she loved to read by natural light. I'm better than okay, she said honestly. I'm happy. After hanging up, Anna Sophia went to find Damien, who was fixing a loose floorboard in the hallway. We've made the papers, she told him. Damien looked up, concern crossing his face. I'm sorry, I should have warned you this might happen. Once everything with Victor went public, it was only a matter of time before they found out about us. It's okay, Anna Sophia said, surprising herself with how much she meant it. I'm not hiding anymore. Damien set down his tools and stood, pulling her into an embrace. Neither am I, he said. That evening, as they sat on the newly rebuilt back deck watching the sunset, Anna Sophia thought about how much had changed since that rainy day when she had finally decided to let go of her past. Penny for your thoughts, Damien said, his arm around her shoulders. Anna Sophia smiled. I was just thinking about my letter, the one that started all of this. She turned to look at him. Do you still have it? Damien nodded. It's in my wallet. I've carried it with me every day since I received it. Really? Anna Sophia asked, surprised. In response, Damien reached into his back pocket and pulled out his wallet. From an inner compartment, he carefully extracted a folded piece of paper, worn at the creases from repeated handling. Your words found me. When I needed them most, he said softly. They reminded me that there was life beyond grief, beyond work. They reminded me how to feel. Anna Sophia took the letter from him, unfolding it gently. Her own handwriting stared back at her. Words, meant for one man but destined for another. You never said goodbye, she read aloud. So I'll do it for both of us. She looked up at Damien. I was trying to close a door. I never imagined it would open a new one instead. Damien took her hand, the letter between their palms. When I first read this, I thought it was a mistake, a twist of fate. Now I'm not so sure. His blue eyes were serious in the fading light. My grandfather used to say that the universe has its own way of putting things right, if we're paying attention. And are you? Anna Sophia asked softly. Paying attention? More than ever, Damien replied. His free hand came up to cup her cheek. I love you, Anna Sophia. I think I started falling for you with that very first letter. Anna Sophia felt her heart expand, fill with warmth. I love you too, she whispered. Not because of fate or circumstance, but because of who you are. Because you saw me, really saw me, when I wasn't even looking at myself clearly. Damien leaned in, kissing her as the last rays of sunlight painted the sky in shades of pink and gold. The letter that had brought them together fluttered in the breeze between their joined hands, its purpose now fulfilled, its journey complete. As the stars began to appear above them, Anna Sophia and Damien stayed on the deck, talking softly about everything and nothing. The ocean whispered its eternal song on the shore below, and the old summer house creaked gently around them, already feeling more like home than either of them had expected. Autumn arrived in full force, painting the coastal landscape in rich golds and deep reds. The summer house renovation was nearly complete. What had begun as a weekend project had transformed into something more meaningful, a physical manifestation of Anna Sophia and Damien's relationship, built step by careful step. Anna Sophia stood in the kitchen, unpacking groceries, while Damien installed the last of the light fixtures in the dining area. Through the window she could see waves crashing against the shore, tall and powerful after the previous night's storm. I think we're officially moved in, Damien said, stepping down from the ladder and wiping his hands on a cloth. At least, for weekends. Anna Sophia smiled, putting away the last of the canned goods in a pantry they had restored together. The summer house had become their sanctuary, their halfway point between Portland and Seaside. During the week, they still lived their separate lives. Anna Sophia at her library, Damien at the Foundation's headquarters. But Friday through Sunday, they met here, in this place that belonged to both of them. It feels like home, she said, moving to stand beside him. Together they looked around the open living space, at the bookshelves they had filled, The comfortable furniture they had chosen, the photographs of both their families now hanging on the walls. More like home than anywhere I've lived in years, Damien agreed, pulling her into a gentle embrace. Their peaceful weekend routine was interrupted by a knock at the front door. Anna Sophia and Damien exchanged curious glances. They rarely had visitors here, and none that came unannounced. "I'll get it," Damien said, releasing her and moving toward the door. Anna Sophia followed a few steps behind, wariness rising within. Her. The media interest in their relationship had mostly died down after Victor's trial began, but occasionally a persistent reporter would track them down, hoping for an exclusive on the billionaire and the librarian. When Damien opened the door, however, it wasn't a reporter standing on their porch. It was Elena, Anna Sophia's best friend, looking distraught and apologetic at the same time. "Elena," Anna Sophia moved forward quickly. "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" "I'm so sorry to barge in like this," Elena said, shivering slightly in the crisp autumn air. "But you weren't answering your phone and I needed to talk to you before you saw it." "Saw what?" Damien asked, ushering her inside and closing the door against the chill. Elena pulled a tablet from her bag, her hands trembling slightly. "This hit the internet an hour ago. It's already everywhere." She handed the tablet to Anna Sophia, who took it with a growing sense of dread. On the screen was a tabloid website with a glaring headline, "Billionaire's romance a setup. Ex-boyfriend claims librarian planned it all." Below was a picture of Michael, looking somber and sincere, alongside photos of Anna Sophia and Damien at various locations, the library, the beach, entering Damien's Portland apartment. The article claimed Michael had exclusive evidence that Anna Sophia had deliberately misaddressed her letter, knowing it would reach Damien as part of an elaborate scheme to trap a wealthy man. "He's saying I faked everything," Anna Sophia whispered, her voice hollow as she scanned the article. "That I researched Damien after learning about his connection to Victor's company, that I targeted him because of his wealth and vulnerability after his brother's death." Damien's face had gone pale, his jaw tight with anger. "Let me see that," he said, taking the tablet from Anna Sophia's hands. Elena moved to Anna Sophia's side, putting an arm around her shoulders. "I knew you'd want to know right away. Michael's claiming he has proof. Emails you supposedly sent him discussing the plan. That's impossible," Anna Sophia said, her voice growing stronger with indignation. "I never sent him any emails after he left. I had no way to contact him." Damien looked up from the tablet, his eyes dark with fury. "This is his revenge. For being exposed, for losing his position with Victor, for you choosing me." "What are we going to do?" Anna Sophia asked, fear creeping into her voice. She had been gaining confidence, slowly stepping out of her shell, but this attack threatened to undo all of that progress. Damien set the tablet down and took both of Anna Sophia's hands in his. "First, we remember that we know the truth. You and I both know exactly how we met, how this all started. But everyone else will believe him," Anna Sophia said, tears threatening to spill. "I'm a nobody, and he's offering a salacious story about a small-town girl with big ambitions." "You are not a nobody," Damien said firmly. "And we have something Michael doesn't." "What's that?" Eleanor asked, still hovering protectively near her friend. "The actual letter," Damien replied, reaching for his wallet. "The original, with the postmark showing the date, well before Anna. Sophia could have known anything about me or my connection to Victor's company." He pulled out the worn piece of paper that had started everything. "And we have the truth on our side." Anna Sophia took a deep breath, trying to calm the panic rising in her chest. "But what about all those pictures? They make it look like we've been sneaking around." "Paparazzi shots," Elena said dismissively. "They've been following you two for weeks. We all knew that." Damien's phone began to ring. He checked the screen and grimaced. "It's Margaret. The story must have reached Portland." He stepped into the other room to take the call, his voice low and urgent. Elena squeezed Anna Sophia's. "And don't let this shake you. Anyone who knows you, really knows you, will never believe Michael's lies." Anna Sophia nodded, trying to hold on to that reassurance. But a part of her, the part that had spent 2 years believing she wasn't enough, that had accepted Michael's disappearance as somehow her fault, whispered that perhaps people would find it easier to believe the worst about her. Damien returned, his expression grave but determined. Margaret says the Foundation's PR team is already preparing a statement. They want us to come to Portland immediately for an emergency meeting. Us? Anna Sophia asked, surprised. Both of us, Damien confirmed. This affects both of us, and we'll face it together. He turned to Elena. Thank you for coming to warn us. Would you like to stay here tonight? It's getting late and the drive back to Seaside can be treacherous after dark. Elena shook her head. I appreciate the offer, but I should get back. I just wanted Anna Sophia to hear this from a friend first. She hugged Anna Sophia tightly. Call me if you need anything, okay? Anything at all. After Elena left, Anna Sophia and Damien stood in the middle of their carefully created home, the warmth and peace of the space now overshadowed by Michael's accusations. I should pack a bag, Anna Sophia said finally, her voice small. Damien watched her for a moment, then moved to block her path to the bedroom. Wait, he said gently. Before we do anything, I need to ask you something. Anna Sophia looked up at him, fear and uncertainty written across her face. Do you trust me? Damien asked simply. The question hung in the air between them, weighted. With everything they had shared, everything they had built together. Yes, Anna Sophia replied without hesitation. Completely. A hint of a smile touched Damien's lips. Then trust me now. We don't need to rush to Portland tonight. The story will still be there in the morning, and so will Michael's lies. He took her hands in his. Tonight, let's just be us. Here, in our home. Anna Sophia felt some of the tension leave her body. Damien was right. Running to Portland in a panic would only feed into the narrative that they had something to hide. Okay, she agreed. But what about tomorrow? Tomorrow we'll face whatever comes, Damien said. Together. They drove to Portland early the next morning, the coastal highway nearly empty in the pale dawn light. Anna Sophia watched the scenery pass by, her mind racing with all the possible outcomes of the day ahead. What if people believe him? She asked, breaking the comfortable silence that had settled between them. Damien reached across the console to take her hand. Some might, he admitted honestly. People love a scandal, especially when it involves someone with money. He squeezed her fingers reassuringly. But the truth has a way of coming out, Anna Sophia, and we have something Michael doesn't have. What's that? Each other, Damien said simply, and the actual timeline of events, which we can prove. When they arrived at the Wexler Foundation headquarters, Margaret was waiting for them in the lobby, her normally composed face lined with worry. The board is waiting in the main conference room, she said without preamble. The PR team has been working all night on damage control. Anna Sophia's stomach twisted with anxiety. This was all happening so fast, becoming so much bigger than she had ever imagined. She had always lived a quiet life, invisible to the world at large. Now she was at the center of a public scandal. Damien must have sensed her distress because he put a protective arm around her shoulders. Before we go, I want to be clear about something, he said to Margaret. Anna Sophia is not on trial here. She's done nothing wrong and I won't have her treated as if she has. Margaret's expression softened slightly. Of course not. But you need to understand, Damien, this isn't just about the two of you anymore. The Foundation is still recovering from Victor's scandal. Another hit to its reputation could affect all the work we do, all the people who depend on our grants and programs. Damien nodded, acknowledging the truth in Margaret's words. I understand. But we'll handle this our way, with honesty and dignity. The elevator ride to the top floor seemed to take longer than usual. Anna Sophia stood close to Damien, drawing strength from his presence. When the doors opened, they stepped out together, ready to face whatever waited for them. The conference room was filled with serious-faced people in business attire, board members, PR consultants, legal advisors. All conversation stopped when Anna Sophia and Damien entered. Damien, said Mr. Harrington, rising from his seat at the head of the table. Thank you for coming so quickly. And Ms. Delgado, thank you for joining us. Anna Sophia nodded stiffly, uncomfortable under the scrutiny of so many strangers. A woman in a sharp suit stepped forward, introducing herself as Vanessa Blake, head of the Foundation's PR team. "We've prepared a statement in response to the allegations," she said, handing copies to both Damien and Anna Sophia. "It firmly denies any wrongdoing while avoiding direct engagement with Mr. Thompson's specific claims." Anna Sophia scanned the document, her heart sinking. The statement was cold, corporate, and completely impersonal. It made no mention of the truth, of the letter that had found its way to Damien by genuine mistake, of the connection that had grown between them through honest communication. "This won't work," she said quietly, surprising herself as much as everyone else in the room. "I beg your pardon," Vanessa said, clearly not accustomed to having her professional expertise questioned. Anna Sophia looked up from the paper, finding confidence in her certainty. "This statement, it doesn't address what really happened. It sounds like we're hiding something, like we're afraid of Michael's accusations." "With all due respect, Ms. Delgado," one of the board members interjected, "the Foundation has handled numerous PR situations over the years. We have a standard protocol for these matters." "This isn't a standard matter," Damien said, placing the statement on the table. "This is personal, not just for me and Anna Sophia, but for the Foundation itself. We're still rebuilding trust after Victor's actions. People need to see that we've changed, that we're being transparent now." "What do you suggest?" Mr. Harrington asked, his expression thoughtful. Damien looked at Anna Sophia, a silent question in his eyes. She nodded, understanding without words what he was asking. "We tell the truth," Damien said. "The whole truth, from the beginning. We show people the letter, the real timeline of events. We do an exclusive interview with a respected journalist, someone known for integrity, not sensationalism." The room erupted in objections, multiple voices talking over each other about risks and precedents and protocols. Through it all, Anna Sophia kept her eyes on Damien, drawing strength from his unwavering gaze. When the clamor died down, Mr. Harrington spoke again. "It's an unconventional approach," he said slowly. "But then again, these are unconventional circumstances." He looked directly at Anna Sophia. "Are you prepared for what this would mean? The scrutiny, the personal questions, the potential backlash?" Anna Sophia took a deep breath. 6 months ago, she would have run from such exposure, would have hidden herself away with her books and her quiet life. But now, with Damien beside her, with the truth as their shield, she felt ready to stand her ground. "I am," she said clearly. "I have nothing to hide." Mr. Harrington studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. Ms. Blake, please arrange an interview with Diane Powell from the National Review. She's fair, respected, and not known for tabloid tactics." Vanessa looked as if she wanted to object further, but simply nodded and made a note on her tablet. "Now," Mr. Harrington continued, "if you'll excuse us, Ms. Delgado, the board needs to discuss some Foundation matters with Damien." Anna Sophia nodded, understanding the dismissal. Damien squeezed her hand reassuringly before she left, whispering, "I won't be long." In the hallway outside, Anna Sophia found herself alone with her thoughts. She wandered toward the large windows overlooking the city, watching people move about their lives far below, unaware of the drama unfolding in the tower above them. "Ms. Delgado?" a voice called behind her. Anna Sophia turned to see Margaret approaching, a steaming cup of tea in her hands. "I thought you might need this," the older woman said, offering the cup. "It's a special blend I keep for stressful days, and we seem to have a lot of those lately." Anna Sophia accepted the tea gratefully. "Thank you." They stood in companionable silence for a moment, both gazing out at the city. "He's different with you," Margaret said finally. "Damien, I mean." Anna Sophia looked at her questioningly. "I've worked with him for nearly a decade," Margaret explained. "After James died, I watched him retreat into himself, into his work. He stopped seeing people, stopped engaging with the world." She smiled faintly. "Then your letter arrived and something changed. He started looking up from his desk again, started asking questions about things beyond budget reports and grant proposals." "I didn't do anything special," Anna Sophia said. "That's exactly what made it special," Margaret replied. Your letter wasn't meant for him, wasn't asking anything of him. It was just honest emotion, at a time when he needed to remember what that felt like. Anna Sophia sipped her tea, considering Margaret's words. I never planned any of this, she said softly. Michael's accusations, they're all lies. I know, Margaret said simply. Anyone who's seen you two together knows. The way he looks at you, the way you look at him, that can't be manufactured. She paused, then added, For what it's worth, I think you're exactly what Damien needs. Someone who sees the man, not the money or the name. Before Anna Sophia could respond, the conference room doors opened and Damien emerged, his expression tired but resolute. Everything okay? Anna Sophia asked as he joined them. Getting there, he replied. The board has concerns, naturally, but they're willing to let us handle this our way. He looked at Margaret. Diane Powell has agreed to the interview. She'll meet us at my apartment tomorrow morning at 10. Margaret nodded. I'll make sure everything is arranged. She gave Anna Sophia a small smile before walking away, leaving them alone. Are you sure about this? Anna Sophia asked once Margaret was out of earshot. Going public with our story, with the letter, it's so personal. Damien took her hands in his. I'm sure about you, he said simply. Everything else is just noise. The interview with Diane Powell was scheduled to last an hour. 3 hours later, they were still talking, the renowned journalist clearly captivated by the genuine emotion behind their story. Damien had shown her the original letter, with its postmark dated long before Anna Sophia could have known anything about him or his connection to Victor. He explained about James, about his withdrawal from life after his brother's death, about how Anna Sophia's words had awakened something in him that he thought was lost forever. Anna Sophia shared her side, her shock at receiving Damien's response, her initial embarrassment, and the unexpected connection that had grown between them through their correspondence. And you never knew about Michael's connection to Victor's company? Diane asked, her pen poised over her notepad. Anna Sophia shook, her head. Not until recently. Even when we were together, Michael never mentioned his previous work with the Wexler Corporation. He presented himself as someone who had left the corporate world behind, who wanted a simpler life in a small town, which was all part of Victor's plan, Damien added. To have someone close to me, gathering information, looking for vulnerabilities. Diane nodded thoughtfully. And these emails, Michael claims, prove Ms. Delgado's scheme. They don't exist. They can't, Anna Sophia said firmly. I had no contact with Michael after he left Seaside. No emails, no calls, nothing. He's desperate, Damien explained. The evidence against him in Victor's case is damning. He's looking for any way to discredit us, to cast doubt on everything associated with the investigation. When Diane finally left, promising a fair and thorough article, Anna Sophia felt drained, but relieved. They had told their story, the real story, and now all they could do was wait to see how the world received it. You were amazing, Damien said, pulling her into his arms as soon as the door closed behind the journalist. So strong, so clear, about everything. Anna Sophia leaned into his embrace, drawing comfort from his solid presence. I just told the truth. It was easier than I expected. The truth usually is, Damien said, kissing the top of her head. It's the lies that require effort to maintain. They spent the rest of the day in peaceful domesticity, cooking dinner together, and reading quietly on the couch. It was a pocket of normalcy in the midst of the storm surrounding them, a reminder of what truly mattered. The next morning, Diane's article was published online. Titled The Letter That Wasn't Meant for Him, A Modern Love Story, it presented their relationship with sensitivity and nuance, emphasizing the unlikely chain of events that had brought them together and the documented timeline that disproved Michael's accusations. The public response was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. People were captivated by the romance of it all, the misdirected letter, the correspondence that followed, the healing that both Anna Sophia and Damien had found in each other. Social media buzzed with supportive messages, with many sharing their own stories of fate, coincidence, and unexpected love. Michael's credibility, already damaged by his involvement with Victor, crumbled completely when an IT expert hired by the Foundation's legal team proved that the emails he claimed to have from Anna Sophia were crude forgeries, created recently and backdated. Within days, Michael released a statement retracting his accusations and apologizing for any misunderstandings or hurt caused. It was clearly a legal settlement, not a genuine apology, but it formally ended his campaign against Anna Sophia and Damien. Life began to settle back into a rhythm. The media interest gradually waned as other stories took precedence. Anna Sophia returned to her work at the library, finding comfort in the familiar routine. Damien continued his efforts to rebuild the foundation, implementing new transparency measures and refocusing on the charitable work that had been his brother's passion. Weekends at the summer house remained their sanctuary, their time to reconnect, away from the world's scrutiny. Winter arrived with a vengeance, bringing storms that lashed the coast and covered the inland areas with snow. Anna Sophia and Damien had planned to spend Christmas at the summer house, but a particularly fierce blizzard had closed the coastal highway, keeping Anna Sophia stranded in Seaside. "I'm so sorry," she said over the phone on Christmas Eve, watching snow pile up outside her apartment window. "I was looking forward to our first Christmas together. It's not your fault," Damien replied, his voice warm despite the distance between them. "The storm should pass by tomorrow afternoon. We'll celebrate then." "It won't be the same," Anna Sophia said, unable to hide her disappointment. She had decorated the summer house with twinkling lights and evergreen boughs, had wrapped her gifts for Damien with care, had planned their holiday menu down to the last detail. "No, it won't," Damien agreed, "but we'll make it special anyway. That's what we do, isn't it? Make something beautiful out of unexpected circumstances." Anna Sophia smiled despite her melancholy. "Yes, we do. Now, go get some sleep. Call me if—" The roads clear earlier than expected. After hanging up, Anna Sophia curled up on her window seat with a book, trying to lose herself in the story. But her mind kept wandering to Damien, alone at the summer house on Christmas Eve. It would be his first Christmas without work to distract him from James's absence, without the protective numbness he had wrapped around himself for so long. Outside, the snow continued to fall, heavy and relentless. Anna Sophia sighed, accepting that there would be no travel tonight. She might as well try to get some sleep, as Damien had suggested. She had just changed into her pajamas when a knock sounded at her door. Frowning, she checked the time, nearly midnight. Who would be visiting at this hour, in this weather? Another knock, louder this time. Anna Sophia approached cautiously, calling out, "Who is it?" "Someone who apparently doesn't have enough sense to stay home during a blizzard," came the muffled reply. Anna Sophia flung the door open to find Damien standing there, snow covering his coat and hair, his face red from the cold. "Damien," she gasped, "what are you doing here? The roads are terrible," he finished for her, stepping inside and stomping snow from his boots. "But I have a very good lawyer who convinced the state police I was on essential business." "What essential business?" Anna Sophia asked, helping him remove his snow-covered coat. Damien reached into his pocket and pulled out a small wrapped package. "Delivering this," he said. "It couldn't wait until the storm passed." Anna Sophia took the package, looking at him with confusion. "You drove through a blizzard to bring me a Christmas present?" "Not just any present," Damien said, his expression suddenly serious. "Open it." With trembling fingers, Anna Sophia unwrapped the small box. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a ring, a simple but elegant design with a single diamond catching the light. "Damien," she whispered, her heart racing. He took the box from her hands and dropped to one knee on her apartment floor, still damp from the snow he had tracked in. "Ana Sofia Delgado," he said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "You wrote a letter saying goodbye to your past, but it found me instead. Through some cosmic mix-up, some twist of fate, your words reached across the distance and touched a heart you didn't even know existed." He took a deep breath. "I don't want to be just another chapter in your story. I want to be the rest of the book, every page, every word, every moment." Ana Sofia felt tears welling in her eyes, but they were tears of joy, of wonder at how completely her life had changed since that rainy day when she had finally let go of what was behind her. "Will you marry me?" Damien asked, holding the ring up between them. "Not because of fate or chance or misdirected mail, but because we chose each other," every day since that first letter. Anna Sophia knelt down to join him on the floor, taking his free hand in both of hers. "Yes," she said simply. "Yes to all of it. The past, the present, the future. We'll write together." Damien slipped the ring onto her finger, then pulled her into a kiss that felt like a promise, like the beginning of a new chapter. Outside, the snow continued to fall, covering the world in a blanket of white, pristine possibility. But inside, wrapped in each other's arms, Anna Sophia and Damien had already found their perfect beginning, in a letter that wasn't meant for him, but had somehow found exactly where it needed to go. 6 months later, on a perfect summer day, Anna Sophia stood in the bedroom of the summer house, looking at her reflection in the full-length mirror. Her wedding dress was simple, a flowing ivory gown that suited the beach ceremony they had planned. Her dark hair was adorned with tiny white flowers, and around her neck hung the key to the summer house, now on a delicate gold chain, Damien's wedding gift to her. A knock at the door preceded Elena's entrance. Her friend was dressed in a pale blue bridesmaid's dress, her expression a mixture of happiness and nostalgia. "You look beautiful," Elena said, coming to stand beside Anna Sophia. "Like something out of a storybook." Anna Sophia smiled. "I feel like I'm in one sometimes. The shy librarian and the billionaire. It doesn't quite seem real." "It's real," Elena assured her, adjusting a flower in Anna Sophia's hair. "And it's perfect, because it's perfectly you, both of you." She handed Anna Sophia a small package. "This came for you." The courier said it was urgent. Anna Sophia took the package curiously. It was wrapped in simple brown paper, with no return address. She opened it carefully to find a book inside, a beautiful leather-bound volume. The title, embossed in gold on the cover, read, "The Girl Who Wrote to the Wrong Man." Her breath caught in her throat as she opened it. On the dedication page, in Damien's familiar handwriting, was written, "To the woman who taught me that sometimes the wrong address leads to the right heart." The book contained their story, from the misdirected letter to their engagement, written with love and care. Anna Sophia turned the pages, tears blurring her vision as she relived their journey through Damien's words. At the end was a blank page with only a small note at the top. "The rest is still unwritten. Let's fill these pages together." There was a second knock at the door. This time it was Mrs. Patterson, who had insisted on helping with the wedding arrangements. "It's time, dear," the older woman said gently. "Everyone is waiting." Anna Sophia took a deep breath, carefully placing the book on the dresser. She would read every word later, would cherish this gift for the rest of her life. But now, in this moment, the future was calling. She stepped out onto the porch of the summer house where her father waited to walk her down the path to the beach. The afternoon sun warmed her skin, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of salt and roses. At the end of the path, where sand met grass, stood Damien, handsome in his suit, his eyes fixed on her with an expression of such love that it took her breath away. As Anna Sophia began her walk toward him, toward their future, she thought about the letter that had started it all, words meant as an ending that had become the most beautiful beginning. Sometimes life's mistakes turned out to be the best decisions of all. Sometimes a heart found exactly where it was meant to be, even when the address was wrong. Damien held out his hand as she approached, and Anna Sophia took it, stepping forward into the story they would write together. One letter, one word, one day at a time. The end.